I'm Elizabeth Whitlow from CCOF, California Certified Organic Farmers.
And I'm Anita Sauber. I'm with Marin County Department of Agriculture and MOCA, which is a certification agency within our department. I'm still seeing stars from that thing.
I know. And they asked us to come talk to you all today about certification basics. And so I'm going to just start with telling you a little bit about who CCOF is, because we've been in the certification business for nearly 40 years. We've been doing this work. It started with a small group of farmers here in the north coast of California and in the central coast, of farmers who got together and said, hey, you know, people are calling this stuff organic, but really, we know that neighbor's not doing organic practices. Let's have a program where we look at each other's stuff and we report on it. And so this kind of evolved over the years into the first state Organic Food Production Act in California, the COFA, and what was that, 1990? And that eventually became the National Organic Standard. So we've been doing this since 1973, and we do certification, education, promotion, marketing, advocacy for organic farmers. We certify throughout North America, and we have actually about 2,000 clients right now, 2,200 clients, and more than 75% of the organic acreage in California is certified by CCOF, and one of the oldest and largest certifiers in the country. And Anita is with quite the opposite, polar opposite.
Our scope of certification mainly focuses on Marin County. So we are the Ag Commissioner's Office of Marin County. We had a group of people that came to us and they said, wouldn't it be great if you guys certified our local producers? Long story short, we became an accredited certifier. So anybody that's a certifier has to be accredited with USDA and work off the NOP standards, which we're going to very quickly go through here today. So Elizabeth and I were two separate certifiers, but we use the exact same rules to certify growers. And so that's throughout the United States. If you work with an accredited certifier, which you have to be, we're all using the same regulations and requirements.
Great. And that brings us to this slide, which is about the beginning of the federal rule on organics in 2002, when there was a full implementation of the NOP, or the National Organic Program. And basically this leveled the playing field among all certifiers. And it also brought in federal enforcement of any organic claims, so that anybody who's making an organic claim has to be certified by an accredited agency. And if not, then there is a recourse. There's some enforcement arm of this National Organic Program that will give fines, up to $10,000 fines, to anybody who's using the organic claim who's not certified. And certifiers' role in organic, you want to?
So what we do, all of us certifiers, we use the National Organic Program standards to verify that through an organic system plan that you're meeting or exceeding what the standards say that you need to do. So, and this is once a year we come out to visit your operation to make sure you'll update through an organic system plan, and we verify that you're meeting all the requirements.
There we go.
There'll be a test on this too.
So this is the highlights from the National Organic Program. The organic production and handling requirements are all laid out in this, what is it, about 4 pages that covers just the crop section. There's a requirement that all producers have an organic system plan in place that describes all your production practices and harvesting practices and any types of materials you plan to use. You have to show that you meet the eligibility of the land by establishing the land history or the land requirements of Section 202. There's Section 203, which is your soil and crop nutrient practices. And this section is covered in great detail, I think, by most certifiers and most inspectors who come out to see organic operations, to make sure that any organic farmers are really working hard to build soil health and tilth by incorporating animal and plant matters, and doing crop rotations. We also look at we have a section on seeds and planting stock, and see where you derive your seeds, and there's the crop rotation and then the pest management section. And so these are really just very brief highlights of the rule.
And just, so back up to the top, the organic system plan encompasses all these requirements that you see right here in the form of basically like a questionnaire that you as the grower would fill out and submit to your certifier. And what you're doing is you're showing that you're meeting all, we don't have the regulations here, but these are the elements that what you're showing to your certifier and to the consumers out there that, you know, choose to buy organic, that you're abiding by all the requirements.
So what is the validation standard on how do you validate that what is written is in practice as opposed to
Good,
a statement?
excellent question.
Yeah.
That's called the on-site inspection. So what we would do is when you fill out that questionnaire, it's basically like a contract, and you're telling us, you're showing us through written documents of how you're maintaining all those elements. Then a certifier will go out, and when we do an inspection, we go through that system plan, and that's where you show us. We look to verify that you're actually doing these things. And a lot of what is written in an organic system plan are going to be kept by you as a grower through records, documents, invoices, in various forms to show that you meet that.
So it's an audit process, huh?
Perfect.
Very much, yeah.
I hate that word, but that's
No,
exactly what
it's
it
very
is.
effective, yeah.
It's exactly
Yeah,
what it is.
That's exactly what it is, yeah.
It's an audit process.
Well, and the rule, there's certain record-keeping requirements in the rule where producers have to keep records on all their inputs and their crop rotations and their harvest. You have to keep a written documentation, otherwise we can't really verify it. We can only be there usually once a year, as most certifiers do, just one annual site inspection. There's also a requirement that certifiers do unannounced inspections. And so at CCOF, we do at least 5% of our clients receive an unannounced inspection every year, and we move it around to different, obviously every year, unless there's reason to continually do an unannounced inspection at some operation. How about you guys do?
The way that we've been doing our unannounced is if the client, the operation has had some non-compliances, some problems, then we'll come back, depends on the situation, and just kind of pop in to make sure. Even though they told us that they corrected it, they put it in writing, we want to verify. So it's sort of a case by case. But now we are going to, USDA just came out with new guidelines, and we'll be doing 5%. So there's it could be random, it could be complaint basis, it could be they've had problems in the past, and so we want to make sure, unannounced, to make sure that they're carrying on with the corrections they said that they were doing. Are you scared now? You should be. I'm just kidding. We're a lot better looking than the IRS. Go ahead.
This might be a step backwards, but we're trying to get the big picture of certification. Are all certifying agencies implementing the NOP standards, or are there other, okay, and then the other question is, there's other types of certification agents as well. I get confused sometimes when I hear about biodynamic certification, for instance. Is the biodynamic program implementing an NOP standard as well, or is that a whole different?
That's different.
Yeah.
That's completely.
It's completely different, but they do, the main provider of the biodynamic certification program, Demeter, they have a program that also does an inspection for the NOP. And so they've maintained accreditation for the National Organic Program as well, and they offer that called Stella.
So that's a different, you can go through a couple channels with them,
Right.
is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think most people who are going with Demeter, they're doing the biodynamic certification program, but if they also have a market for organic products, then they may also tag on and do their Demeter, or their Stellar program.
Thank you.
Actually, I
That's a
looked
good
into the biodynamic, and to be certified organic is the minimum requirement to be biodynamic.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so
So-
you have to be certified?
Yeah.
again?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
You have to satisfy those requirements. So if somebody wants to say, we're beyond organic, we're biodynamic, it's like, no, you're not even organic. If you're not
Right.
certified organic, you're not, if you're not certified,
Yeah.
then you're certainly not, if you're not Demeter certified, you certainly can't claim biodynamic, obviously.
Right.
But
Right,
there's a lot of sort of words thrown around out there about what people are that are not always certified status, obviously. So-
Well, and that's why they use the O word, you have to be certified.
Right.
And pretty much to say the B word, biodynamic, you have to be
Demeter certified.
yeah.
B&O.
Yeah. That's funny. I hadn't thought about that. Good one.
Must have fun with organic standards.
And acronyms.
Dry.
Smelly things.
Yeah, that's right. Anita, you wanna, this is just.
More than input, okay.
This is the definition of organic taken directly from the rule. And it just shows like the underlying principle that always needs to be demonstrated by anyone in the organic program. And being organic, you can't be organic by benign neglect or default. It's more than input substitution. And I like this definition because it really gets to the crux of it. It's a system that responds to site-specific conditions by integrating cultural, biological, and mechanical practices that foster cycling of resources, promote ecological balance, and conserve biodiversity. And at any given moment, when you're at an inspection, if something doesn't seem right, it's not meeting this basic tenet, then you can legitimately question that. You can ask that producer what they're doing to meet this definition.
I think that definition, you really can't paraphrase it, it says it all in that paragraph. And that's the underlying crux, the power of the organic program that differentiates it from anything else, any other type of farming program. And also, it means that each farm is its own unique entity, and how you carry that off could be completely different from the person next to you.
Right. That's really important, you're right, like that responds to site-specific conditions. This question comes up all the time, and so we just included a slide on it just because to establish your eligibility of your land, you have to show that no prohibited substances were applied for the past 3 years prior to harvest of that organic crop. You also have to have distinct defined boundaries. And if there's an adjacent conventional operation that is, potentially got some drift or spray potential, then you have to implement some buffer zones so that your operation absorbs the risk, basically. Some people plant hedgerows, you designate certain buffer rows of crops, orchard trees, or vineyard rows as non-organic, and you don't harvest and sell that crop as organic. You have to sacrifice it. So,
But in Marin County, no.
no, tell
To
me.
my knowledge, we're the only county, I think, in California that has this requirement, because we enforce also the pesticide laws and regulation. We put, if there is a person using pesticides on a farm next to an organic farmer, we have the buffer put on the pesticide use, on
Wow.
the pesticide program. That's actually a pesticide law.
That is
Because
great.
there is a law that says you cannot drift. And, we've gotten a lot of gruff from the growers using the pesticides. What do you mean I have to stay 50 feet away? But it's avoided a lot of problems.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
The law about drift, is that a local law or state?
No, that's a state law. It says basically if you use a pesticide, you shall not drift.
Okay.
Now, we could talk endlessly about that, but by requiring them to have a buffer on their side, that creates a safety net that won't happen. And there's creative ways that we can work with guys if they need to go closer. But that's worked really well for us.
Yeah, that's unheard of though, right? I mean, most other counties don't implement that.
Most other
Yeah.
counties wouldn't dare.
We're in a special.
That's right.
We probably don't have enough time to really get too deep into the rule. This presentation is geared for more like an hour-and-a-half talk or something, so unless someone has specific questions on seeds and planting stock, I think we should probably just keep
Yeah.
moving. You want to?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.